I discovered my wife faked our son's DNA test. The truth was so much worse. Posted in our TrueOffMyChest. I'm 38, my wife Lisa is 36. We've been married for 12 years and have a son, Alex, who just turned 10. I always thought our family was perfect. Lisa is a loving wife, caring mother, and Alex is a smart, kind boy I'm incredibly proud of. We have a nice house in the suburbs, good jobs, and what I thought was an honest, trusting marriage. Everything started 3 months ago when Alex got sick. At first, it seemed like a regular cold, runny nose, slight fever, nothing unusual for a 10-year-old. But after 2 weeks, the symptoms wouldn't go away. He started complaining about joint pain, and Lisa noticed he was more tired than usual. Our pediatrician, Dr. Martinez, who'd been seeing Alex since he was born, initially said it was probably just a persistent virus. But when Alex developed a rash and his fever spiked to 103, Dr. Martinez wanted to run more comprehensive blood work. He said he wanted to rule out anything serious, maybe Lyme disease or some kind of autoimmune condition. We were worried but not panicking. Kids get sick. It's part of life. The call came 3 days later. Dr. Martinez asked us to come in for a follow-up appointment, and there was something in his voice that made my stomach drop. When we arrived at his office, he had this careful, measured expression that doctors get when they're about to deliver bad news. Alex's blood work came back, he said, looking between Lisa and me. The good news is we've ruled out the serious conditions I was concerned about. He has a straightforward bacterial infection that we can treat with antibiotics, but there's something else that came up. He pulled out a printout and slid it across the desk. According to our records, both of you are O-positive blood type. Is that correct? I nodded. Yeah, I've been O-positive my whole life. Donated blood in college. Me too, Lisa said quietly. I noticed her hands were gripping the armrests of her chair. The thing is, Dr. Martinez continued carefully, Alex's blood type came back as O-positive. Now, this is genetically impossible if both parents are O-positive. For a child to be OB, they need to inherit an allele from one parent and a B allele from the other. If both parents are O, the child must be O. The room started spinning. I heard the words, but they weren't making sense. That's impossible, I said. There must be a mistake with the test. That was my first thought too, Dr. Martinez said. So I ran it twice. Same result both times. Now there could be a few explanations. Hospital records can have errors. Perhaps one of your blood types was recorded incorrectly years ago. Or, he paused, clearly uncomfortable. Or there might be other circumstances to consider. I looked at Lisa. Her face had gone completely white. Not pink, not flushed, white as paper. And in that moment I knew, I don't know how I knew, but I did. This wasn't a records error. Can we talk about this at home? Lisa said, her voice barely a whisper. Of course, Dr. Martinez said. I'm going to write a prescription for Alex's infection. That's what's important right now. The rest, well, you two should discuss it privately. The drive home was silent except for Alex chatting in the back seat about a video game he wanted. Lisa stared out the window. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles were white. When we got home, Lisa told Alex to go play in his room while we talked about boring adult stuff. As soon as his door closed, I turned to her. Lisa, what the hell is going on? I don't know, she said, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. Maybe there was a mistake at the hospital, maybe. Don't, I said. Don't lie to me, your face when he said it. You knew something. What aren't you telling me? I'm not telling you anything because there's nothing to tell. Her voice was rising. You think I cheated on you. Is that what you're saying? I'm saying that our son has a blood type that's impossible if I'm his father, I said. The words felt like glass in my throat. So either you cheated or there's something else going on. Which is it? She started crying. I can't believe you'd accuse me of that. After 12 years of marriage, you really think I'd do that to you? I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly, but something in her reaction felt wrong. She wasn't indignant enough. She was scared. I don't know what to think, I said quietly, but I need to know the truth. The truth is that I love you and I love our son, and I don't know why this test came back wrong, but it's wrong." She wiped her eyes. "Maybe we should get a second opinion. Maybe we should." "I want to do a paternity test," I said. The words hung in the air between us. Lisa's tears stopped. She just stared at me. "You're serious?" she said flatly. "Yes. You're going to destroy our family over a blood test that could be wrong." "If it's wrong, then the paternity test will prove it," I said, "and we can all move on. But I need to know, Lisa. I need to know for sure." She was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Fine, do your test. But when it comes back showing you're his father, you're going to owe me the biggest apology of your life." That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Lisa, listening to her breathing, and I felt like I was sleeping next to a stranger. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Alex's face. His dark hair, his brown eyes, his smile. He looked like me. At least I'd always thought he did. But now I was questioning everything. The next day, while Lisa was at work and Alex was at school, I ordered an at-home paternity test kit with express shipping. I paid extra for the fastest processing time, 5 business days instead of 2 weeks. Those 3 days waiting for the kit to arrive were torture. I went through the motions at work, barely hearing what people said to me in meetings. At home, I played with Alex, helped him with his homework, and every moment felt surreal. Was I his father? Would I still be his father if the test came back negative? The kit arrived on a Tuesday. I waited until that evening when Alex was watching TV. I casually sat down next to him with what I'd told him was a science kit from work. "Hey buddy, want to help me with a quick experiment?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light. "What kind of experiment?" He didn't look away from the screen. "Just a simple one. I need to swab the inside of your cheek. It's for a genetics project at work. Takes 2 seconds." "Okay," he said, finally looking at me. He opened his mouth and I quickly swabbed his cheek, feeling like the worst person in the world. Then I went to the bathroom and did my own sample. I sent the samples off the next day with overnight shipping. Then I waited. Those 5 days were the longest of my life. I barely spoke to Lisa. She kept trying to have normal conversations with me, asking about my day, talking about Alex's upcoming school play, but I couldn't engage. I was just counting down the hours until I'd know the truth. The results were supposed to come via email. I checked my phone obsessively every day, refreshing my inbox dozens of times an hour. On the 5th day, Thursday afternoon, I was in a meeting when my phone buzzed. I glanced down and saw the subject line: "Your DNA test results are ready." I stood up so fast I knocked my chair over. "I'm sorry, I have to go. Family emergency." I was out of the conference room before anyone could respond. I sat in my car in the parking garage, hands shaking as I opened the email and clicked the link. The results loaded. I stared at the screen, reading the words over and over, unable to process what I was seeing. Probability of paternity, 0%. Based on the analysis of the submitted samples, the tested man is excluded as the biological father of the tested child. I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes, could have been an hour. Everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. The son I'd raised for 10 years, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, whose scraped knees I'd bandaged, whose nightmares I'd soothed, he wasn't mine. I thought about Lisa. How long had she known? Had she known all along? Was our entire marriage built on a lie? Who was Alex's real father? Did he know about Alex? Was he in our lives? I felt like I was going to throw up. I started the car and just drove. I didn't know where I was going. I ended up at a park near our house and sat on a bench, staring at nothing. I called my brother Mike. "Hey man, what's up?" he answered cheerfully. "Mike, I need to talk to you about something, and I need you to not say anything to anyone, not even Sarah." Sarah was his wife. His tone changed immediately. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" I told him everything. The blood test, Lisa's reaction, the paternity test. When I finished, there was a long silence. "Holy shit," he finally said. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know," I said. "I don't know anything anymore." Do you think she had an affair? I don't know. She seemed genuinely shocked about the blood type thing, but then she also seemed terrified, like she knew something but was hoping I wouldn't find out. You need to confront her, Mike said. Tonight, you can't live like this. I know. I looked at my watch. It was 3:30 p.m. Lisa wouldn't be home until 6. Alex got out of school at 3:45. I can't do this with Alex there. Come to my place, Mike said. Bring him here. He can play with the kids. Sarah and I will keep him occupied while you and Lisa talk. Okay, I said. Okay, thank you. I picked Alex up from school and told him we were going to Uncle Mike's house for dinner. He was excited. He loved playing with his cousins. When we got there, I pulled Mike aside. I haven't told Lisa I'm bringing Alex here, I said. I'm going to text her now and tell her we need to talk. Alone. Mike nodded. Take all the time you need. He can even sleep over if necessary. I texted Lisa. Alex is at Mike's for the night. We need to talk. I'm on my way home. Her response came immediately. What's going on? Is everything okay? I didn't reply. I drove home, rehearsing what I was going to say. How do you even start that conversation? Hey honey, just found out our son isn't mine. Care to explain? Lisa's car was already in the driveway when I got there. I sat in my car for a moment, steeling myself. Then I went inside. She was standing in the kitchen, her phone in her hand, looking terrified. What's going on? Why did you take Alex to Mike's? You're scaring me. I pulled my phone out and opened the paternity test results. Without saying anything, I handed it to her. I watched her face as she read, watched the color drain from her cheeks, watched her hands start to shake. She looked up at me, and I'd never seen her look so afraid. I can explain, she whispered. Then explain. My voice sounded cold, distant. Tell me how my son isn't my son. Tell me who you've been sleeping with. Tell me how long you've been lying to me. It's not, she stopped, tears streaming down her face. It's not what you think. I didn't have an affair. I swear to God I never cheated on you. Then how? I was shouting now. How is Alex not mine? Did he materialize out of thin air? Was it immaculate conception? Please, she sobbed. Please sit down. I need to tell you something, but you have to promise me you'll hear all of it before you react. Because if you don't, you'll never understand. I don't want to sit down. I want answers. Please, she was begging now. Please just sit down. I'm going to tell you everything, but it's complicated. Against my better judgment, I sat down at the kitchen table. Lisa sat across from me. She pulled some papers out of a drawer, papers I'd never seen before. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold them. Before I show you this, she said, I need you to know that I love you. I have always loved you. And everything I did because I couldn't bear to lose you. She slid a paper across the table. It was another DNA test result, but it wasn't for me and Alex. It was for Lisa and Alex. Probability of maternity, 0%. I stared at it, unable to comprehend what I was seeing. I don't understand. What is this? Alex isn't my biological son either, she said quietly. He's not our biological child. My brain short-circuited. That's impossible. I was there when you were pregnant. I went to every ultrasound. I was there when you gave birth. I held him. I stopped. I held him 2 hours after he was born. You were in recovery. Do you remember why they took him? She asked. Why they took him away for 2 hours? I tried to remember. It had been 10 years. They said, routine checks, standard procedure. That's what I told you, she said. That's what the nurse told you, but it wasn't true. She took a deep breath, and when she spoke again, her voice was different, hollow, like she was recounting someone else's story. I worked at Harbor General Hospital before Alex was born. I was an administrative coordinator in the maternity ward. That's how we afforded the down payment on this house. I worked there for 5 years before I quit to stay home with Alex. I know all this, I said impatiently. But you don't know about the night of September 17th, 2015. She wiped her eyes. The night our son was born, the night he died. My heart stopped. What? I was 8 months pregnant when I went into labor. It was early, but not dangerously so. The doctors weren't concerned, but I'd been having complications, spotting, cramping. They'd been monitoring me closely. When I went into labor, they did an emergency ultrasound and found that the baby was in distress. His heart rate was dropping. She was crying now, big gasping sobs. They did an emergency C-section. I was awake, but I couldn't see anything because of the screen, and then there was silence. No crying, no baby sounds, just silence. Lisa. They tried to resuscitate him for 40 minutes, she continued, not hearing me. 40 minutes, but he never took a breath. He was stillborn. They brought him to me, wrapped in a blanket, and I held our dead baby boy. I held him and I cried, and I couldn't believe that this was happening. That after all those months of feeling him kick, of planning his nursery, of picking out names, he was just gone. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't they tell me? Because of what happened in the next room, she said. 20 minutes before our son was born, a woman in the next delivery room gave birth to a healthy baby boy, but she hemorrhaged. They tried to save her, but she died within minutes. The baby's father had died 3 days earlier in a car accident. This baby, perfectly healthy, perfect in every way, had no parents, no family. The mother had been estranged from her parents for years. The father was an only child whose parents had died years earlier. This newborn baby had literally no one. I was starting to understand, and the realization was making me sick. Social services was called, Lisa continued. They were going to come get the baby and place him in foster care immediately. And I was lying there, holding my dead son, empty and broken, and I could hear this baby crying in the next room. This baby who had no one. What did you do? I asked, though I already knew. A nurse I worked with, Sarah Chen, she was my closest friend. She was working that night. She came to check on me and found me holding our baby. She was crying too. She'd been there when I came in, had been praying for us. And I looked at her and I said something I'll never forgive myself for. I said, that baby in the next room has no one, and I have no baby. Why can't we just switch them? Lisa, I whispered, horrified. I know, she said. I know how it sounds, but I wasn't thinking clearly. I was out of my mind with grief. And Sarah looked at me and said, are you sure? And I said yes, and she made it happen. How? I asked. How is that even possible? The chaos of that night helped, Lisa said. 2 emergency deliveries, 2 deaths, multiple staff members running around. Sarah falsified the records. My baby, our biological son, was registered as stillborn under the other mother's name, Rebecca Torres, and her baby, Alex, was registered as born to us, alive and healthy. And when they brought him to me 2 hours later, they brought me Alex. The nurse who handed him to you told you there had been minor complications, but everything was fine now. You believed her. Why wouldn't you? And when you put him in my arms, I looked down at this perfect, beautiful baby, and I told myself I was saving him, giving him a family, giving us both a second chance. I stood up, knocking my chair over. You kidnapped a baby. You stole someone's child and let me believe he was ours for 10 years. I know, she sobbed. I know what I did. I've lived with it every single day. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time you tell Alex he has your stubbornness or my sense of humor, I know it's a lie. I know, but look at what he has. Look at the life we've given him. He's happy. He's loved. He has a home, a family, parents who adore him. What would his life have been like in the foster system? That wasn't your decision to make, I was shouting now. His parents died, and that's tragic, but they existed. They had names, they had histories, they had families somewhere, and you erased all of that. His mother's name was Rebecca Torres, Lisa said quietly. His father was James Torres. I've researched them. Rebecca was estranged from her family because she married James against their wishes. He was from a different cultural background and they disapproved. James's parents died in a house fire when he was 15. He had no siblings. There was literally no one to claim that baby except the state. And Rebecca's parents, I demanded, don't they deserve to know their grandson exists? They're dead, Lisa said. Both of them. Her father died of a heart attack 6 years ago. Her mother died of cancer 2 years after that. I've kept track. I needed to know if anyone would ever come looking. I sat back down, head in my hands. Why are you telling me this now? Because of the blood test, she said. Because I knew you'd do a paternity test. I couldn't let you think I'd cheated on you. I couldn't let our marriage fall apart over a lie when the truth is I loved you so much that I couldn't bear to tell you our baby died. I couldn't bear to watch you grieve. And I couldn't bear to let that orphaned baby go into the system when I had empty arms and an empty nursery. What about Sarah? I asked. The nurse, she just went along with this. She made me promise I'd give Alex a good life, that I'd love him like my own, and I have. She never told anyone. She retired 5 years ago and moved to Florida. She died last year, cancer. Lisa looked at me with red, swollen eyes. She was the only other person who knew, until now. I didn't know what to say. I sat there trying to process everything. My biological son was dead, had been dead for 10 years. The boy I'd raised, the boy I loved more than my own life, wasn't biologically mine or Lisa's. He was the orphan child of 2 dead strangers. Does he know his real name? I asked quietly. Did his mother name him before she died? Lisa nodded slowly. She named him Alexander James Torres. I kept his first name, I thought. I thought at least I could give him that. So even his name was hers, I said. Yes, I stood up. I need to leave, I need to think. Where are you going? Lisa asked desperately. I don't know, Mike's, a hotel, I don't know. I grabbed my keys. Don't call me, don't text me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. What about Alex? She asked. What are we going to tell him? Right now, nothing. He's a kid. He doesn't need to know his parents are falling apart. I stopped at the door. But eventually he deserves to know the truth. He deserves to know who he really is. Please don't tell him, Lisa begged. Please, he's 10 years old, this will destroy him. Everything is already destroyed, I said, and I left. I drove to Mike's house. He took one look at my face and knew something catastrophic had happened. He got Alex settled with his kids watching a movie, then we went out to his garage. What happened? He asked. I told him everything. When I finished, Mike just sat there stunned. Jesus Christ, he finally said. I thought she cheated. I don't even know what this is. It's kidnapping, I said. It's fraud. It's a decade-long lie. Are you going to turn her in? I don't know. I put my head in my hands. If I do, what happens to Alex? He goes into the system. He finds out his entire life is a lie. He learns that the parents who raised him are criminals. But if you don't, Mike said slowly, you're complicit. And what if he finds out on his own someday? What if he does one of those ancestry DNA tests and discovers nothing makes sense? I know, I said. That's what's killing me. There's no right answer here. What about his biological parents' families? Mike asked. Don't they deserve to know? Apparently they're all dead, I said. Lisa's been keeping track. No grandparents, no aunts or uncles that she knows of. That's convenient, Mike said skeptically. That's what I thought too. But what if it's true? What if Alex really is alone in the world except for us? Except he's not yours, Mike said gently. Biologically, legally, he's not your son. But he is my son, I said, and I started crying. I've been his dad for 10 years. I love him. I love him so much. How do I just stop being his father? Mike put his arm around my shoulders. You don't, but you have to figure out what's right. Not just for you, not just for Lisa, for Alex. That was 3 weeks ago. I've been staying at Mike's, going to work, and seeing Alex a few times a week. Lisa and I have barely spoken except to coordinate schedules. Alex keeps asking when I'm coming home, and I keep making excuses. I've done a lot of research in the past 3 weeks. I verified that Rebecca and James Torres are real people with real obituaries. I found Rebecca's parents' death certificates. Everything Lisa said checks out. I even hired a private investigator to see if there were any other relatives, and he came back empty. As far as anyone can tell, Alex has no biological family left. I consulted with a lawyer confidentially. He said what Lisa did was illegal, obviously. falsifying birth records, medical fraud, arguably kidnapping. But he also said that given the unique circumstances, prosecution would be unlikely, especially since all parties except Lisa are deceased. However, if it came to light, there would likely be a family court case to determine Alex's custody, and there's a chance he could be removed from our home during the investigation. I also spoke to a child psychologist about how this kind of revelation would affect a 10-year-old. She said it would be devastating, potentially traumatic. She recommended that if the truth must come out, it should be done carefully, with professional support, and at a time when Alex is old enough to process it better. Yesterday, I went to visit Rebecca Torres' grave. It's in a cemetery about 40 minutes from our house. I brought flowers. I sat there for over an hour looking at her headstone. Rebecca Maria Torres, beloved daughter, 1988-2015. She was only 27 when she died, younger than I am now. And her baby who she named and held and died bringing into the world, is being raised by strangers who stole him. But I also thought about Alex, about the life he has. He's on the soccer team. He's in advanced math. He has friends who come over for playdates. He has 2 parents who love him, a nice house, a stable life. He's never known hunger or neglect or the instability of the foster system. Would Rebecca want her son in foster care? Or would she want him with a family who loves him? I don't have an answer to that. I don't have an answer to anything. This morning, Lisa finally called me. "We need to talk," she said. "Really talk, not just about what I did, but about what we do now." I agreed to meet her tomorrow. She suggested bringing a therapist, a family counselor who specializes in complex situations. I said yes. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I can forgive Lisa for lying to me for 10 years. I don't know if I can live with being complicit in what she did. I don't know if I should tell Alex the truth or protect him from it. What I do know is that I love Alex. I love that kid with every fiber of my being. He's my son in every way that matters, even if biology says otherwise. But I also know that love doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't make the lie okay. It doesn't bring back my biological son. It doesn't give Rebecca and James their baby back. I'm posting this because I'm desperate for perspective. What would you do in my situation? Do I expose the truth and potentially destroy Alex's life? Do I keep the secret and live with the guilt? Do I try to forgive Lisa, or do I walk away? I have a meeting with her and the therapist tomorrow afternoon. I need to make some decisions, and I have no idea what the right choice is. Update 12 hours later. I just got off the phone with the therapist we're supposed to see tomorrow. She wanted to do a pre-session call with me to understand the situation. After I explained everything, she was silent for a long moment. Then she said something that's been running through my head ever since. The question isn't what's right or wrong anymore. That ship sailed 10 years ago. The question now is what causes the least harm going forward. And you're the only one who can answer that. I'll update after tomorrow's session. I just needed to write this all out. Thank you for listening. Top comments. You throw raw advice. This is so far beyond anything I've ever read on Reddit. I can't even imagine what you're going through. That child knows you as his father. Whatever Lisa did wrong, and it was wrong, destroying his entire world now doesn't undo it. Please prioritize his well-being in whatever you decide. You Legal Eagle 2024, former family attorney here. This is one of the most legally and ethically complex situations I've ever heard. Document everything, but be very careful about who you tell. If this becomes public, CPS will get involved and Alex could be removed from your home during the investigation, even though there's nowhere else for him to go. His stability has to be the priority. You adoptee advocate. As someone who was adopted and later found out about my biological family, I want to say this. Alex deserves to know his truth eventually, but how and when he learns it will shape his entire life. A 10-year-old is not ready for this. Please work with professionals on if and when to tell him.